All right. Now, our midline is unique for the fact that we have 1,000 different ways to run a play. Now, my motto this season has been 5 plays, 1,000 ways. We believe in keeping it simple. We organize our plays into categories, and we will run those 5 plays, but we're going to do it in 1,000 different ways. Formations, motions, shifts, all these different ways that we can get into different things. And that's a whole other webinar. We don't have time to get into all the ways we do that. But I'm going to show you what we call our alpha group. And our alpha group, we call them our MVP plays. These are the most valuable plays. One of the things as a coach that I've grown, and this offense has changed or developed over the years, is basically by coming up with this alpha group. What we found in the first couple seasons that we ran this is we were running veer, and everything was fantastic. But the problem was we didn't have a complement for it. We would just randomly call plays. Well, we got a little smarter this year. If teams were taking away veer, how do you counter it? So we've come up with an inside play, an off-tackle play, and an edge play. So no matter what a defense does to us, we will have these 3 plays that we can use at our luxury to hit inside, off-tackle, or on the edge. And that's how we've organized everything now. We have an alpha group of 3 plays. We have a bravo group, which is a complement to the alpha, et cetera, et cetera. All right. You'll notice at the bottom we've also built in a play action pass, and we've also built in basic screens, swings and bubble screens, some call them tunnels. Everybody's got different terminology. But this is a great complement as well. So we feel truly we can go into a football game, and we can run these 5 plays and have no other trouble. These are the only 5 that we're going to need. And we really, when the going gets tough, we always tell our kids they're our most valuable plays. MVP, midline, veer, and pitch. When the going gets tough, we're going to stick with one of these 3 plays because we're going to know them so well and we're going to execute them well. That being said, let's start with our midline. Okay. As I mentioned, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but we're going to read the 2 technique or wider. All right. What do I mean by that? This is our midline explanation. We're going to run midline to the right-hand side. All right. So we're looking for a 2 technique or wider. The first 2 technique or wider that we see will be our read. And in this case, I'm talking about this guy right here. That is my read man. Okay. I'm responsible for leading him alone. Now, how will that play out in our scheme of things? Really, it's quite simple. All right. He is the first man to make a call. He is covered by the read guy, so he cannot block him. What he will do is make an under call, which means he is going to go underneath his guy, and he's going to take the Mike linebacker. All right. The second is our tackle. Our tackle in midline is the only exception to our zone rules. He is going to kick out the end man on the line of scrimmage. So he will essentially make a kick-out block. What we've done is we've created 2 options on this play. The first option, our halfback will go straight down the line of scrimmage, right through the midline. Our second option will be our quarterback pulling the ball, and he's going to go right through this little alley. Now we have one problem left. We need to create a motion man. We have a Z, we have an F that we can bring in motion. In this case, we're going to bring our Z in a quick motion. We're going to shoot him up that hole, and he's going to be responsible for taking the Mike to the outside. So essentially what we've done is Mike cannot be right. Nothing he does on this play will make him right. He's going to be double teamed. The tackle is the same way. Nothing he does can be right. If he closes down and takes away the dive, our quarterback will pull it and go. If the tackle goes upfield, we teach our quarterback to give that ball every time. Let's take a look at what that read looks like. We're going to animate it, clear this drawing up here, and we'll see how it goes. All right. So as we animate, as I mentioned, there's our read man. We are going to have a slot receiver, whether it's our Z or our F, do some kind of a full block to make sure that we have that Mike linebacker accounted for. If the read man goes upfield or just sits, we give the ball to the running back. That's our first read. When in doubt, give the ball. So in this case, the tackle went straight up the field. We gave the ball on the dive, and away we go. All right. In the next scenario, what you're going to see is this tackle is going to crash down and take away our dive. If that's the case, our quarterback will keep the ball, and he'll go up the hole. So there's our read man. Once again, we're going to have our slot receiver responsible for full blocking. If the read man crashes, pull the ball and follow the block. So there's our crash read. Quarterback pulls the ball and makes his way up through that little hole. It essentially becomes a quarterback ISO for us. as a secondary read. All right? So that's the explanation of how the read works. Let me get into the nitty-gritty here. The best part about the pistol spread option that we have found is really there are only 8 combinations of defenses that you're going to see. You're either going to get a 6-man box or a 7-man box because we have 4 wide receivers all the time. So you cannot put 8 in the box because we'll throw the ball. And in a lot of cases, we try to throw the ball with 7. But we have found that there's only 8 possible combinations that you can get as far as the defense goes. You can get a 3-3 stack or a 3-5 as some people call it. A 4-2 is a 3-and-a-1 technique. A 4-2 with double twos. A 5-1, a 3-4, a 4-3. So you've got your 6-man box and your 7-man box. And any kind of combination you're going to get, I don't care what they are, you're going to get one of these 8 essential things. Now that's important for us because our kids are easily to understand what defense they're getting and how to adjust to that. I'm going to go against double twos because that's what, as I mentioned earlier, that's what we're going to get most of the time. Now, we said we're going to run our 5 plays 1,000 ways. Here's an example of exactly what I'm talking about. This is our basic stack formation. Using motions and using different formation sets, we are going to run midline, and I think I counted this 36 different ways. All right, so let's give you our base way. We're going to run midline to the right out of our stack formation, and we're going to use the blocking schemes that I've outlined earlier. It makes it really simple to understand. So the first thing we need to understand is, who do we read on this? We're going to read a 2 or wider. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight my read man. In this case, it's that guy, okay, 2 or wider. So let's go through together and let's talk about what each of these individuals does. All right, we know that this is our read man, and our play is to the right. So we're going to leave him alone. First step is, he is responsible for the box from his nose to his nose. There's nobody in that box. So he will step play side, and he'll work his way up to backer. If he can't get to backer, he'll continue on until he finds an ugly shirt. And that's the way we teach it. If there's nobody in your box, continue on until you find an ugly shirt. Okay? This guy has a head up 2. As we talked about earlier, his job is that 2 technique. So he's going to put his head on the play side, and he's going to grub or cut that 2 technique. Our center will step play side. Nobody in his box. He's going to continue on. And more than likely, the first ugly shirt that he's going to get is that will linebacker. So if you look now, we've double-teamed the will. We've got him from the outside. We've got him from the inside. This gentleman here, our guard, is covered, but he's also covered by the read man. So we make an undercall. We're going to go underneath that read, and we're going to take the inside of that Mike linebacker. In this case, our tackle will kick out, as we talked about in midline. And then our Z will be in motion because it's called a Z in. So he will be our motion man. He will insert himself into the line of scrimmage and block the Mike linebacker. What that allows for us then is us to run our play. So let me animate it, give you an idea of what our midline looks like, and clear the drawing, and then we'll be ready to go. All right, this will do exactly what I showed you. We make an in and out call with our slots. Our Z will go in motion. He's going to take his zone step, work to that linebacker. He's covered by the read man, covered by a 2. He's going to grub him. He will zone and look backside. He makes an under call, goes to Mike. He makes an out call, and there's our read, just the way we had talked about it. All right, now this is an important piece to the option, and once again, this is a whole different presentation, but we use what we call a one-way street. These are one-way decisions. If you're going down a one-way street, you're going to continue going down that street forever. That's essentially what we want with our dive guy. You are going to give him the ball as long as that street is open. The only time you're going to keep the ball if you're the quarterback is if this street becomes obviously closed. Okay? And how will it be obviously closed? If this tackle is going to come down and create a wreck. If that tackle creates a wreck, now it is my quarterback's job to pull the ball and take it up the hole. So we use one-way decisions. That works the same way for veer. That works the same way on option. They're one-way decisions. It's a one-way street, and the only way you get off that street is if there's going to be an accident. Then you better pull the ball and find a different route. All right? I'm going to give you a couple more looks at our midline out of some different motions and things that we can do. One of my favorite ways to do this is to give you a different look with formation. So what we will do in our stack formation is bring in what we call a red. Stack red tells our fullback instead of being stacked, he's going to line up as a tight slot. Now, he doesn't need to motion because he's already in an insert spot. So he's just going to insert himself as this guy, and away we go. So the play works the exact same way. Blocking schemes don't change. The only thing that's changed for us is essentially who is going to be the insert guy. Okay? Nothing changed. He's the insert, but there's no motion needed, and we still make the same read on that 2 technique. All right, let me show you against a different front just to prove to you how easy this can be done. We're going to show you a 7-man front now. Here's a 5-2 look. What we have found is teams are either going to play an umbrella coverage behind it with a cover 2, or they're going to come up and man up on you. A lot of the teams that we play have the ability to man up on you. So we found that if you break the first level, you've got yourself a big play because they're manned up on your receivers. Now, how would we do this? It works essentially the same way. Okay, we're going to do it the same way we had done anything else. Here's our read man. No problem there because he's a 2 or wider. Okay, our tackle is still going to kick out. Nothing's changed there. All right, let's go through the progression. He is going to step to this box. That is his man. Why? Because he's from nose to nose. Okay, he essentially is going to step to this box, and he will take that Will linebacker if Will is there. If Will isn't there, he continues up on a different pass. He's covered by a head-up nose, so he's going to put his head on the play side and grub him. We have an undercall from the read man, and away we go. There's our dive pass, and there's our pull pass. Now, the best part about this with a nose guard is, with the way that we zone block, we actually encourage our halfback. Once he hits this hole, look for cutbacks. There's a cutback lane right there. There may be a cutback lane straight up the middle. You may end up cutting back this way. Okay, so we give our halfback the option. That's why this zone blocking scheme works so well for us, because we're always creating lanes. There's always running lanes. So let's animate it against this 5-2 front to give you an idea of what it looks like. We'll move on. He's in motion. He's our insert guy. Now, we can make a gut call here. If we feel that we need to, we can. We will have our guard go down, guard under tackle. There's our zone, under call, out call, and away we go. As I mentioned, it basically creates a zone cutback for our halfback. All right, let's move on to our veer play. As I mentioned, it doesn't matter what front you got. We'll show you a 6-1 very quickly. This is your read man because he's a 2 or wider. Nothing changes. Absolutely nothing changes. All right. The one question that I do get, and I'll go to it really quick. I know we're running out of time here, guys. I could talk all night. But the one question I do get a lot is, how do you play a 3-3 stack with midline? So I'm going to show you that when this one's done here. We're going to zone step this. We'll zone it here. He makes his undercall. Here's your kick out, and the same thing works. All right. Let me show you the 3-3 stack very quickly because this does change our calls just a little bit. All right, it changes our calls just a little bit. What we have the problem of now is we've always taught our tackle to kick out. The problem is that's our read man. If we go 2 or wider, the first guy 2 or wider is the end. So we've got a problem. What do we do? How do we fix that? Well, it's really simple. Okay, we still have our fold guy, but this time we're going to have our fold guy fold out rather than under. Why do we do that? Because he's going to make an undercall. So he's going to go underneath and take the Sam linebacker inside. Our slot will go outside. So we've double teamed the Sam linebacker now. Now, the other part of this equation is 99 times out of 100, this is a straight give. Because for that 5 technique to come all the way down the field and tackle our fullback, he better be a superstar. And if that's the case, if he's making that play, it's going to be a long night anyway. All right, and that's how we run against a 3-3 stack. The only thing that changes is we just tell our slot, rather than folding in, you're going to fold out and take the outside.